Good day and welcome to the African News broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra. Asante top stories. Ethiopian army attacks in Tigray range on forces. Airstrike against Tigrayan forces intensify in Ethiopia's Amhara region, TPLF spokesman. 90% of population in Unity State displaced by floods. This and more details coming up after the break. You're welcome back from the break to our first story. The Ethiopian army and allied forces have launched the second day of ground attack as part of a fresh military offensive against Tigray forces. A senior member of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, has said Getachew Reda said thousands have perished in the renewed fighting and the forces are holding their ground and more. The forces control the Tigray region and had advanced to neighboring Amhara region where the fighting is reportedly taking place. An earlier statement by the forces says that the government has launched an offensive on them and all fronts aided by airstrikes and drones attack. The federal government has largely been silent, but a statement by its National Defense Forces on Monday accused the forces of spreading lies and attempting to simultaneously play victim and victors. It must be known that if our defense forces begin a full offensive in accordance with their own plan, that will be carried out even before the forces complaining about being attacked, the statement reported by the state media reads. Fresh fighting in exacerbating the already dire humanitarian situation in Tigray and other areas impacted by the war. Still on the attacks on the Tigray forces, the airstrikes against Tigrayan forces in Ethiopia's northern region of Amhara have intensified, a spokesman of the Tigray forces said on Friday, which he says could presage a ground push against the Tigrayan forces by the Ethiopian military and its allies. The Ethiopian military and its allies have been fighting forces from the northern region of Tigray for 11 months. Tigray forces pushed into Amhara, where forces have been fighting alongside the government in July. He said multiple airstrikes have begun on Thursday and intensified on Friday, clustered around three areas near the towns of Wagesa and the Wegautena, as well as in the east on the road linking the region to Afar or Amhara. A diplomatic source confirmed to Reuters that there has been airstrikes near Wagesa. Reuters was unable to independently verify airstrikes in other areas. Spokespeople for the Ethiopian military, Amhara regional government and Prime Minister's office did not return calls seeking comment. The fighting since last November has displaced millions of people and pushed hundreds of thousands of Tigrayans into famine. A situation the United Nations has blamed on the government blockade. The government denied its blocking aid. Diplomats fear the spread fighting could destabilize Ethiopia, Africa's most populous country and an important regional power. After the Tigrayan forces pushed into the region neighboring Tigray, Amhara and Afar, hundreds of thousands of residents there were forced to flee their homes and around 1.7 million people became dependent on food aid. Our final stories in South Sudan, and 90% of the population in South Sudan's Unity State are homeless due to heavy floods, a senior government official said, painting a gloomy picture of the situation. This displacement is a massive one, since 90% of the people are displaced, State Governor Joseph Monitu told reporters in the capital, Bentiu, last week. At least 623,000 people, the United Nations says, have been affected by widespread flooding in South Sudan since May, and Unity, as well as Jokli State, representing 58% of flood-affected victims. The magnitude of the disaster is overwhelming. We lost all we have and only trying to maintain Bentiu and facilities here, says Monitu. He appealed for assistance for the population hit by heavy floods. Rivers, the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said in a briefing last week, broke their banks following heavy rains, deluging houses and farms in 8 of the 10 states. Aid workers are using canoes and boats to reach stranded populations, with more than 2/3 of the affected areas now facing the risk of hunger as food prices shoot up. recording a 15% jump since August, it added. Schools, homes, health facilities and water sources are inundated, impacting people's access to basic services, partly reached the briefing, adding that physical access remained a major challenge for the humanitarian organizations to assess and respond to the needs of the flood-affected people. Some families have been able to flee to the capital, Juba, while others have set up makeshift camps along highways, grabbing what few possessions they could from the ruins of the flimsy thatch huts. According to the UN, nearly 500,000 people are suffering because of flood stress, and that seasonal flooding in Sudan and South Sudan has devastated the whole community, where homes have been destroyed and farmland as well as livelihoods washed away. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs spokesman Jens Lieki said aid agencies are doing their best to provide emergency relief. Thank you so much for watching. This is Roger the Curtains on the African News. My name is Sandra Asante. Do have a wonderful